Hey, this is Steven. I'm trying something new out today. Um, yeah, I'm out. I'm live. So yeah, hey, this is Steven here for It's Meaningless. I am back. Glad to be back. I've been working a lot more lately, and hey, we're here. This is I think this is episode 22. I have to go back and check for real to make sure, but I believe this is episode 22. I think we're good on audio and video. I have to go back later and check. I got a little bit of lag on my end. But anyway, welcome. This is It's Meaningless. This is the podcast for startup entrepreneurs who are tired of stuck. A lot of people stuck these days, especially in entrepreneurship. Here we uncover the meaningless daily habits that keep you from protecting and growing in life and in business. This is episode, like I said, I think it's 22. And we're talking about voluntary slavery. Now, like these days, like the topic of slavery, talking about slavery is a big deal. Like, don't get me wrong, it kind of is. But at the same time, one of the things that I have come to realize is like slavery exists in a whole lot more context than the ones that we think of it as. Like personally, I have been in business. I've been in business for about 10 years. And in this time of being in business for myself, I've realized like I have a mentor who's made the statement that entrepreneurship is like a personal development program with a nice compensation package. And I can't agree more. Because of the fact like entrepreneurship, it brings out everything that needs to be challenged in you, like assumptions, beliefs, patterns, habits, that kind of thing. It brings out everything that needs to be challenged. And it really it really challenges us. And I believe that's on purpose. I believe that's by design. And so the thing I've realized though is like in that time, one of the things that's brought up for me is like a desire to please people. I think on some level I think everybody has it. And of course, like it's innate to want to be in good graces, to have a relationship. And sometimes like I think we can go too far with that. As in wanting everybody, well, not necessarily in the wanting, but trying to get everybody to like us. Like, don't get me wrong, like things go smoother when there's where there's not like contention and whatever, strife and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, and this might be going a little bit far off the road, but at the same time, sometimes there needs to be that. Sometimes there needs to be that. But I'm gonna back up a little bit to the point of, I guess, trying to pay attention to, trying to adhere to, trying to satisfy the needs, or not needs, but the expectations of other people. Trying to cater to their opinions, their approval, like that's a big deal. And I see that I see that not only for me, but in other entrepreneurs. I see that a lot. So on one hand, like, to jump out on your own, start something new, you can say, hey, I don't care about what people think and all that kind of stuff, and that's good, and it's true on some level. But at the same time, for most of us entrepreneurs, it's not 100% true. And this is where the slavery part comes in. So at some point, I call it like an anchor, but it's probably not an anchor in a good way, but I call it like an anchor, as in, because of the fact that, like, we long to be connected, we long to be known, to have relationship, to have deep relationship. There's at least one or two or three areas in our lives that we're trying to get that in. If we don't already have it, if we don't perceive that we have that level of connection, that level of relationship, we're prone to go and seek it somewhere. And so that is in some area, with some person, or with some persons, with some group or whatever. And so at that point, like, we are prone to willingly subjecting ourselves at that point to some relationship, whether it's like with your employees, whether it's with your clients, whether it's with friends. Like, at some point, we're wanting to, or attempting to, like, make somebody be an anchor for us, which, like I said, sounds good, but in this case, not necessarily, because the anchor thing is, this is a relationship that's like, it's saying, hey, this particular relationship, like I said, whether it's with your employees, whether it's with friends, whether it's with even if it's with family, and in that case, I think it can be a little more healthier. But even still, there's a place that you can go where it's too far, in terms of the anchor concept, because when you're anchoring in, or using a relationship as an anchor, it provides a sense of safety, and it should, but the thing that it also does when it goes too far is it goes to a point of, I'm going to limit myself, my activities, my decisions to the opinions of this person, this group of people. In other words, and this is where the anchor part comes in. In other words, I won't do anything that this group of people over here, like I said, that my employees, that my clients, that my spouse, whoever that they don't agree with. And like I said, for family, that's a completely different level. I think there's a lot more room for having this dynamic in the context of family, in the context of marriage, especially. But at the same time, I think in any of these relationships, like, you can't go too far with that. Because effectively, the anchor concept means that I'll allow you to limit my growth for the sake of, I don't know, preserving, or at least in my mind, preserving like our connection, our relationship, what we have going on, or what's potential. Not necessarily even like what we have. It's like what's potential for the future. I'll allow you to limit my growth, and that part is what I call slavery. It's voluntary. Voluntary slavery is voluntary slavery. Like, the picture I get is one I've seen in a book I read, effectively, of this strong man, a strong man, like I don't know, think of like the world's strongest man contest or something, that like chooses to bow under the weight of, I don't know, a tricycle. Obviously they don't have to, but they choose to. They choose to. Like, they have weight, they have enough, the strong man has enough power to be able to lift the tricycle and fling it at least 50 yards. Let alone that they, in other words, that they would have to bow underneath the weight of it. But it's effectively what happens when we allow people, and I don't even think it's allowing. Like, a lot of times we just set people up in that position. We literally put people in that position of, tell me what my limit is. And the problem is that it feels safe. It feels safe. It feels like, yeah, there's safety. There's a feeling of safety in it. But sometimes the way things feel aren't exactly as they are. While it feels safe, it's actually extremely detrimental, because it takes what you could achieve, it takes what you could accomplish, and it makes it impossible. Well, effectively, I want to say it kind of distances you from it, but not really, because it's like, it's always at hand. Like, at any point you could choose to go, but it's like, it's right there, but it's like, you're just not going to do it. It robs you, which ironically is like you're robbing yourself, but it does. It robs you of the opportunity to do some of the things that are already in you to do. So this one hits home a lot for me, because actually for me this has been something that it's been something I've been kind of mulling over for the last few years, last couple years at least. Um, and then even recently getting more more insight into this. Because I think this is kind of one of those things that is kind of a life process. Like it's easy to grasp onto people. It's easy. Like I said, I think on some level, I think everybody does it. I could be wrong, but I think on some level, everybody does it. And like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean everybody does it in the same areas. So, in terms of like managing employees, you might be great. In terms of going out and making a sale, you might be great. In terms of going home with family, you might be great. But in terms of like what do I do for my free time, you might not be. Or maybe something a little bit more important, like what do I do with my life, as in like what things do I choose to value the most? In other words, do I prioritize the things that are most important to me, or the things that I think are most important to somebody else? Which usually for a lot of people, like that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing, and that's literally slavery, because it's like, yeah, it's literally slavery, because at that point it's like I can't even do what I can't even be in control of, like deciding what's important and what's not. Like I need to defer to somebody else to tell me what's important and what's not. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I've been there. Like I said, it feels safe. A friend of mine actually said something to the effect of like it feels like a nice warm cozy blanket. But the problem is it's the kind that suffocates you. You get comfortable with it and it suffocates you. So I'm gonna end there because I am getting ready for actually a boot camp, online boot camp tomorrow. Starts tomorrow, Wednesday the 28th. That is effectively, it's a 2-day boot camp specifically for software startups. And it can be beneficial for any type of startup, but effectively the goal is to help get you unstuck. Like when I started out in business, in the current line of business I'm in, about 10 years ago, I knew a lot about software, how to get things done in software and tech and all that kind of stuff. But there were tons of things I did not know about, like business and how it worked and what things to do and what things not to do and where to go and how to sell and all that kind of stuff. And some of you have the reverse. Some of you know sales, marketing inside and out, that kind of stuff, but you're not necessarily familiar with like the whole software process, the software development lifecycle. You're not necessarily familiar with those parts of kind of software business. So this is really a time for like a lot of startups I've talked to have said like pretty much the same thing. Like, we need help, as in like we don't know what to do next. We don't know how to, I guess, take the next step. And kind of in line with this topic of slavery, this is the caveat. Well, it's not really a caveat because this is different. But I guess this is the difference between slavery and kind of a healthy, more healthy dynamic, which is asking for and getting help from other people on things you don't already know. That is, getting information is invaluable. When I started out, I didn't really know about. I didn't really know the concept of going out and getting help. I did, like, I went out to like initially to like different organizations and whatever, for different things that but still nothing. There was nothing really that stuck. But later on, I came to realize like the importance of having access to places where I can get questions answered, where I can get expert guidance, expert kind of expert opinions for moving forward. And like I said, which is different from slavery, because in other words, I'm not bound to what they say, but in other words, in this specific area, I know that this person's the expert. If they say what to do, then I can trust them that, hey, look, this is something that I want to try to do too. So that's the kind of the thing that we want to do, that I want to do, specifically in this boot camp starting Wednesday. So if you can make it, definitely I'll put the sign up in the show notes. But it's unstuckourstartup.com. Like I said, I'll put that in the show notes, and you can go and register, and hope to see you there.